I've completed the main storyline of the first game in Resident Evil series for the first time, so let's go through the storyline to remind of what was going on in this game. But first, I will briefly describe the gameplay so as not to dwell on it further. It is based on exploring locations, collecting items and solving puzzles with these items. It is a third-person game with a fixed camera. There is a lot of running around, so I will be skipping that part. We can choose one of two characters, Chris Redfield and Jill Valentine. I chose Chris. July 24, 1998. A series of bizarre murders occur on the outskirts of the fictional Midwestern town of Raccoon City. The Raccoon City Police Department's STARS team are assigned to investigate. After contact with Bravo team is lost, Alpha team is sent to investigate their disappearance. They found the crashed Bravo team helicopter with no one inside, but their equipment is there. They are suddenly attacked by a pack of monstrous dogs. After that, Alpha team's helicopter pilot Brad Vickers panics and takes off alone, and remains members of a team, who were forced to shooting back, flee into an abandoned mansion. Now there are three of them: Chris Redfield, Jill Valentine and Albert Wesker. They hear a gunshot, and Chris goes to find out what it was. Chris comes across a bolt full, fastened on a Bravo team member. Redfield returns, but no one is there. Only Jill's gun. We head upstairs. On the balcony, he finds a body packed by crows. Then he finds a survival, Rebecca Chambers, who joined the STARS team last month. After introducing herself, she says that it's quite strange they had to land so early due to engine failure, because she had serviced it recently. She offers to join us and we agree. So we move forward while she prepares something for her protection, as she says. Chris finds Keeper's diary, which says that on the night of May 9th, he played poker with the security guard Scott and the scientist Elias and Steve. The next day, a high-ranking scientist asked him to feed a new monster that looked like a gorilla without any skin. Keeper threw a pig to it. 5 a.m. May 11th. Scott, dressed in a protective suit, suddenly woke Keeper up and told him to put on a suit as well. There was an accident in the basement lab, so he stayed in the suit until the next day. As a result, his skin started to suffer. Out of revenge, he didn't feed those monsters, which he called dogs. The next day, he went to the doctor because his back swollen and itchy. The doctor put a big bandage on his back and told him he didn't need to wear this suit anymore. The next morning, he found another blister on his foot. He dragged his foot and went to the dogs. They were quiet, which was unusual, and one of them had escaped. This would be a real trouble if the higher-ups found out. May 15th, a day off. Keeper wanted to go to Nancy, but the security stopped him because there was an order not to let anyone out, not even to make a phone call. May 16th, his body is burning and itching. When he scratched the blisters on his arm, a piece of rotten flesh dropped off. May 19th. The fever gone, but itchy. Hungry, he eats the doggy food. Itching. Scott came, ugly face, so kill him. Tasty. Well, I think it's clear that something is very wrong here. After running around the mansion, we come across a botanical book that tells us how to make medicines from herbs and how to combine them. We find a letter from Martin Crackhorn addressed to Alma. In it, he explains that an accident happened last month at the pharmaceutical lab company where all these things are happening now, and the virus they were researching escaped. All his colleagues who were infected are dead, or rather have become living dead. And he describes the typical zombie symptoms. The virus can even erase his memories of the days he spent with his beloved. Yes, he is infected too, and has taken measures to prevent himself from becoming a zombie against his will. Then Chris finds Richard from Bravo team. Oh, there's even a giant snake here, near which is the last of the 4 crests that need to be inserted here to get through this door. We run around outside and drain the water. After that, we go to the other side and go down. We find a report by Henry Sarton about the plant in point number 42. 4 days after the accident, this plant started to grow rapidly. It was affected by the T-virus and has a unique shape and size. Looking at this behavior, it's hard to determine what kind of plant it was originally. It feeds in two ways. The first one through its roots, which reached the basement. After the accident, a scientist went mad and broke the water tank, so now the basement is filled with water. It's not hard to imagine that chemicals mixed with this water caused the plant to grow so rapidly. The second way is through bulbs that grow through the air ducts and produce many vines. These vines grab the victim and suck its blood with suckers on the vines. This thing has a certain intelligence. It blocks door by twisting them with the vines when it captures a prey or when it sleeps. Several staff members have fallen victims to this. In the same room we find a ladder going down. We descend and find the room flooded with water up to the waist, the same one mentioned before. We drain the water and find the roots. There we find a report about VGOLT. The scientists, as I understand, discovered certain characteristics in the cells of the plant infected with the Tyrant virus. And an interesting fact through certain experiments, specifically UMB16. One of the series of UMB chemicals is capable of quickly destroying plant cells and was named VGOLT. According to their calculations, destroying the plant would take less than 5 seconds if VGOLT is applied directly to the roots. To create it, certain UMB series chemicals need to be mixed in a specific order. However, these chemicals can generate poisonous gas, which is harmful to humans, so extreme caution is required. And the report includes the recipe of creating VGOLT. After reading, we find the hidden door and enter. There, the same plan grabs us. Rebecca rushes in at Chris's scream. Chris gives her the recipe and asks her to make the chemical to destroy this thing, mentioning that the roots are in the basement. Now we play as Rebecca, while Chris is held tight by the plant. We gather the components, craft the chemicals and pour it on the roots, which start to wither. The plant smashes Chris's head against the floor, and also shrinks for a few seconds before returning to its previous form. But Chris is smarter and defeats this wit. Rebecca has Richard's radio, with which she tried to contact the pilot Brad, but he couldn't hear her voice. Maybe the radio is broken, so they need to somehow let him know that they are here. Rebecca says that in the pharmaceutical room where she made the chemical, she can do something, but she didn't say what exactly. Meanwhile, Chris finds Wesker, who says that a strange monster attacked him and Jill, and he lost her. Chris asks, "What are we going to do?" Wesker says they need to complete the mission, so they split up to run around and loot the mansion. Chris runs outside and tries to contact Brad, but it doesn't work. He returns to the starting location, and we see something from a first-person perspective following him. It goes inside and... in vain. Now, these mobs are roaming the mansion. We find secret orders addressed to the head of the security department. The day X is approaching, so the following orders must be executed within the week. First, lure the STARS team into the lab and have them to fight with BOW in order to obtain data of actual battles. Collect 2 embryos from each type of BOW, ensuring that all species except for Tyrant. Destroy the Arkley lab, including all researchers and lab animals, in manner which will seem accidental. The orders were from the White Umbrella. Oh, someone's a traitor. Suddenly, a giant worm bursts out. It fails to crawl in Chris's ass and dies. We jump into the hole and find the secret entrance downwards. For now, it's another location for looting, running and new mobs. Oh, another thing is recording a log from a first-person perspective. Oh, a lift. Through the window in one of the rooms, we see the helipad, so we need to get there to contact the other team members. In the library, we read in a scrapbook that on May 20th, the mutilated body of a 20-year-old woman was found on the left bank of the Marble River in the southern district of Raccoon City. The police think it might be a grizzly or other animals. Judging by the shoes, the girl was attacked on Arkley Mountain and fell into the river. On June 16th, some people claimed they've seen monsters in the Arklay Mountains. The monsters are supposedly about the size of large dogs and run in pack like wolves do. They are fierce and hard to hurt, and they don't care about you unless you wake them up. So readers, stay away from these mountains. But if you're looking for adventures, go ahead. On July 9th, mystery in the Arklay Mountains. The road there is blocked. Due to the disasters in these mountains, the authorities have closed the road leading to the foothills. At the same time, Raccoon City police are preparing to start searching for missing people, with the help of STARS members. People also report seeing grotesque monsters in the mountains. Alright, we go down the ladder into a new location and find a generator that isn't working. Then we encounter a wounded Enrico, who tells us not to come any closer. When Chris asks what is going on, Enrico calls him a double-crosser. He curses at Umbrella and do this. Chris hears a sound and thinks someone is there. He doesn't understand what Enrico meant, but Enrico was implying the Alpha team are the traitors or someone of them. After looting, what I thought was a pool turned out to be a descent into a new location. There, we find a letter from a scientist addressed to Ada. He is infected, but not her, so he asks that if she's the last one left, to take the materials from the visual data room and go to the power room to operate the triggering system before escaping. He also asks to make all this public. Then he describes where everything is located, what to take, where to input on the computer for access, and the code. Yours, John. They fucked. After completing all the tasks, now I understand what the visual data room means. In this data we see objects, namely mutants, and their names. We enter the lab and read the facts, addressed to the general manager of the sanitation division from the Special Committee on Disaster Raccoon Special Research Depth, which states the following. This memorandum is strictly confidential and must be destroyed as soon as possible. The committee conducted an investigation into the T-virus outbreak area. Regarding to this, it was found that the damage caused by the recent accident is significantly greater than reported earlier. First, more than half of the scientists died after the discovery of the T-virus. The body count will most likely increase. Second, their security system is still in operation. Nevertheless, the special security team has been nearly destroyed. As a result, information considered by their company to be top secret has been made available to outsiders. Finally, most of the experiment subjects have escaped and are out of control. Under curious circumstances, these events served as evidence of the success of their research. However, there is still a risk that this information may be leaked to the press, so everything must be cleaned up quickly. They are also concerned that the police force and the STARS team were quickly involved in all of this, and something must be done about that as well. We turn on the electricity where it's needed, and bump into Jill locked in the cell. Wesker turned out to be an asshole. Chris tells Jill to wait him here, maybe because she can escape, and he'll try to rescue her. He runs into Rebecca and she goes along him. Wesker meets us and Chris states that Wesker works for Umbrella. Wesker says kind of,
"Now you're wrong. I was formerly with Umbrella, yes, but now I'm prepared to face anything. Even getting rid of you vigilante stars."
Now, the worst possible situation has occurred. The failure of the experiment created a virus, a biological weapon, polluting the entire lab.
No, the worst happened with the tyrant virus. I lost some of my STARS team members because of it.
Chris says, "That's you killed them," and asks if he killed Enrico. He says yes and show on Rebecca how exactly. Afterwards, Wesker wants to show something to us. And he shows the tyrant, the ultimate life form. Chris laughs at Wesker and says he is pathetic. Wesker gets angry and unleashes his bat on Chris, but he didn't train it well. He didn't train it at all. Chris tells the tyrant that it can't kill him, which honestly made me laugh. He just looks it in the eyes and says, "You can't kill me." The boss fight begins. The strategy here is simple. You just run in circles and shoot while the dumb creature follows you. We press the buttons to release Jill and leave. Rebecca, who didn't die, appears. It looks like she was shot in the bulletproof vest. They decided to get out of there. Rebecca says they need to blow everything up to destroy all the virus carriers. Chris agrees and assigns her to do it. The alarm goes off, meaning Rebecca has started the countdown. We grab Jill and run. The pilot tries to contact us one last time, asking for a signal. We have 3 minutes before the explosion. Monsters are behind us. The girls hold them off, while Chris runs ahead and signals the pilot. The pilot can't land because the ultimate life form emerges. After a while, it dies in battle. The pilot lands, picks everyone up, and the final cutscene shows the satisfied face on the main character, clearly thinking he is going to have a threesome with these hot 3D models that 90s kids jerked off to. If you play as Jill, there is not much difference. Initially we see Jill Valentine, Albert Wesker and Barry Burton. Jill asks where Chris is and wants to find him, but Wesker stops her, saying it's dangerous outside. Then they hear a gunshot. Wesker sends Jill there, and Barry goes with her. They kill a zombie. Wesker disappears. Barry gives Jill a lockpick and they split up. Jill runs into Barry. He shows her Martin Crackhorn's letter, with the page torn out and less information than when Chris read it. It looks like someone is covering their tracks. Jill finds Richard from Bravo Team still alive, who died from a snake bite guarding the last crest. Jill wanted to help him, but he gave her a radio and died. Jill finds out the radio is broken. Then they overhears a conversation where someone is supposed to destroy the Star's team, and it sounds like his family is being threatened to make him do it. Barry is behind the door, saying he heard the voice too. Jill crafts VGOLT herself and pours it on the plant's roots. When Jill kills the snake, Barry comes to her. They lose a rope, he gives her a password. Later, they find Enrico, who starts telling them there is a traitor, and that Umbrella planned everything. Barry kills him, as I understand it. It's hard to tell with the graphics and Jill's reaction. She shouts Enrico's name and leaves. Chris is locked in a cell. Barry shows he's a jerk like Wesker, but Wesker blackmailed him. When Jill asks why he destroyed stars, Wesker replies that it's Umbrella's wish, and his job to destroy everything so that the information about the experiment doesn't go public. With Jill, Wesker is more candid, not shy about saying he's with Umbrella. Barry heard Wesker bad-mouthing him, so he gathers courage in his balls and knocks out the asshole. Barry and Jill look at the ultimate life form together. Barry presses the buttons, and the tyrant merely wounds him. Wesker disappears. Jill releases Chris, gives the pilot a signal, and kills the idiot. In the final cutscene, Chris is less satisfied, thinking only Jill will give him a chance. Rebecca wasn't present at all. These were the official endings. There are also ones where Chris saves Rebecca but not Jill, and vice versa, or both die on the helipad. In 2 bad endings, one is killed by a hunter, or both. In Jill's game, the same happens with the Barry and Chris, but in the bad endings, they are killed by other mobs. Also, in the bad ending, the mansion remains intact and the tyrant remains loose in the forest. This is how this legendary series of games started, and movies up to the 4th part for me personally, and millions of dollars went into creators' pockets. I figured out what happened, I'm satisfied, and I hope you are too. See you in the next video.